Within the Antarctic abyss, a legendary king undergoes a violent, glowing transformation. Inside the pulsating cocoon, ancient cells mutate with unstoppable pink bioatomic energy. Across the world, Skull Island transforms into a lethal, alien fortress of purple glass. Xenus commands the crystals, bending the very earth to his malevolent cosmic will. His eyes watch the horizon, waiting for the king who dares to challenge him. Frozen depths crack open as blinding pink light pierces the dark Antarctic waters. The cocoon shatters into a million stars, revealing the evolved god of the monsters. The cocoon erupts as the superheated titan rises, shattering ancient ice with every single move. Godzilla Evolved stands tall, his pink dorsal fins lighting up the frozen southern sky. Dark satellites detect a massive energy spike, confirming the return of the Atomic King. Gojira's peak evolution as white-hot pink plasma distorts the air with volcanic heat. A deafening roar echoes through the ice, announcing the king's evolution to the world. Fire reacts, swirling with pink auroras as the planet recognizes its true protector. Colossal splash, the evolved king plunges back into the deep, heading north. A torpedo of destruction cuts through the ocean at impossible, record-breaking speeds. On the island, Xenus senses the approaching storm, a low growl rumbling in his chest. The crystals hum with dark energy, resonating with the fury of their cosmic master. Dark drones track the glowing trail as Godzilla races toward the final, crystal battlefield. The core of Skull Island begins to boil, glowing with a fierce, radioactive pink light. The evolved king erupts from the sea, ready to reclaim his throne from space. Titans face off, the air thick with the scent of ozone and fire. Godzilla roars in defiance, his energy vibrating through every shard of alien crystal. Xenus answers with a cosmic shriek, spreading wings made of pure, dark starlight energy. Trembles as the evolved king charges, shattering the ground with every step. Xenus remains still, his horn gathering a vortex of lethal, unstable purple cosmic power. Stride, Godzilla opens his maw, hot pink plasma swirling in a terrifying atomic display. Pink atomic breath meets the violet corona beam in a violent clash of gods. The beams collide midair, creating a sphere of pure, crackling destruction and white light. The resulting explosion unleashes an EMP wave, blinding the world for a single moment. Signals fade to static as Monarch loses sight of the catastrophic battle below. Dust settles, both Titans stand tall, unfazed by the initial, explosive encounter. Gesture, Xenus rips massive crystal pillars from the earth to trap Godzilla. A vortex of floating crystals encircles the king, cutting off every path of escape. Tiles fly like missiles, but Godzilla smashes them with a sweep of his tail. Xenus strikes, brilliant pink energy particles leak from Gojira, sizzling into the cold air. Surgical burst of fire, Godzilla vaporizes the incoming storm of alien glass. Xenus manipulates gravity, crushing the earth beneath Godzilla's feet with an invisible force. He falls to one knee, roaring in frustration against the crushing cosmic weight. watches coldly, analyzing the limits of Earth's biological god with calculated malice. Godzilla's fins pulse with desperate power, fighting to break the heavy chains of gravity. Entering the ground, the king rises slowly, fueled by pure, unyielding bioatomic resolve. Xenus crackles with cosmic lightning, surprised by the sheer strength of the evolved titan. Massive nuclear pulse erupts, shattering the gravity field and clearing the entire battlefield. Rotating crystals fall like rain as the king breaks free from the tyrant's trap. Seeing the opening, Godzilla lunges forward with enhanced speed, closing the gap instantly. Massive fist swings, meeting Xenus' crystalline forearm in a bone-shattering physical impact. Sonic shockwave ripples through the air, cracking the tyrant's obsidian-like crystal armor. Xenus retaliates with a tail whip, slamming his mace-like tip into Godzilla's glowing chest. Sparks of pink energy explode as the king staggers back from the brutal strike. Recovering instantly, Godzilla grabs the tyrant's tail in a powerful, crushing reptilian grip. He spins Xenus in a mighty circle, smashing him through his own fortresses. Through the air, the tyrant hurtles across the battlefield like a fallen star. Xenus crashes into a crystal mountain, buried under an avalanche of shattered alien glass. Godzilla roars in triumph, steam venting from his superheated, glowing bioatomic body scales. Rubble, a violet beam shoots out, forcing the king to dodge quickly. Xenus emerges, his body glowing with an unstable, terrifying violet cosmic fire. The tyrant levitates, his wings creating a storm of dark energy and cosmic winds. Like a wrathful deity, Xenus looks down at the king with absolute hatred. A storm of razor-sharp shards rains down, burying Godzilla in a flurry of stardust. In his arms, the king endures the assault as sparks fly off his hide. To the limit, Godzilla focuses his energy for one final, devastating spiral attack. Stomps his foot, bracing for the impact as energy fissures crack the ground. A vortex of pink light spirals around him, charging the legendary spiral heat beam. Xenus senses the danger and prepares his own maximum power beam in desperate response. Stand still as Gojira and Xenus reach their absolute peak of power. Blinding light ignites within the king's maw, aimed directly at the tyrant's heart. Muscle is tensed for the strike that will decide the fate of Earth. Xenus stands poised, a mirror of destruction ready to fire his ultimate cosmic weapon. Tension reaches a breaking point as both titans prepare to vanish in fire. Last breath is taken, the king's chest expanding with the weight of stars. Titans face off, the air thick with the scent of ozone and fire. All is forgotten as both titans look upward, sensing a much greater threat. Silence falls over the battlefield as the two rivals stand motionless under pink skies. Mysterious roar echoes again as the screen fades, leaving the war unfinished tonight.